So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start here from side tonight with a crossface and an underhook. All right, and we're going to be looking to finish with an arm triangle. So the number one goal for an arm triangle is getting their elbow above their head like this. All right, if it's still down here, they start getting it out to the mat, like it's going to be a lot more difficult. But I want, if I can get his elbow above his head, then we can start setting up our arm triangle. So this is going to be easier to do from mount, right? So we're going to start from side. We're going to transition into the mount and look to collect this arm and start trapping the arm as we make the transition. So first things first, I've got my crossface and my underhook. I'm going to, similar to what we've done in the past with our the sequence we ran a few weeks ago, where we're going to bring our knee and our elbow in and start to cut through for mount. Very similar here. I'm looking to bring I'm going to lean my weight to my outside hip, right, to keep pressure on, keep my head down, keep the good shoulder pressure here so I can keep it thin while I make this transition. And I'm going to look to bring my knee up, my elbow, and now in one motion, I'm going to start to lift the arm with my underhook as I bring my knee to my mat to the mat, the place where my elbow is. Okay. Next, I'm going to look to windshield wipe my foot to actually secure the mount, and I'm going to try for this particular because I'm trying to really go ahead and secure this, get a 2-for-1 here. Go ahead and secure this arm. If I already have a nice underhook here, I'm going to go ahead as I windshield wipe and still try to use that momentum to get even more out of this underhook. So as I windshield wipe, and I can't kind of angle my hips out, as I windshield wipe, I'm going to use this to try to secure even more of this if I can. All right. If I don't, either way, or if it's kind of still stuck, we know how to deal with this. We're going to spider walk, and it's spider walking. Once I have the elbow trapped above the head, I'm looking to cup the armpit, right? And then once we get to this position, I want to get my elbow, my head on the inside of the elbow. Next, this is a key detail. We really want good shoulder position to finish the triangle. So right now my shoulder is far above his chin. So really, for me to start, before I start worrying about trying to squeeze it and all that stuff, I want to make sure that I get nice, get my shoulder nice and under that chin. It's gonna make the finish much higher percentage for me. All right. Once I've got all this locked in, I've got good shoulder position. My head is inside the elbow here or outside the elbow. Next thing I'm looking to do is I'm driving my head in and down and my forehead down towards the mat. Okay. Now I'm going to lock my hands, keeping that pressure. Next thing I'm going to look to do, sorry, bro. Next thing I'm going to look to do, like windshield wipe this foot to the outside. All right. I'm leaving my knee on him. I'm not taking it off. Next thing I'm looking to do is start to walk this hip back and sprawl it. And I'm going to start to sprawl, to shift my weight to that hip. And then to finish, it's not a squeeze or it's not a driving in so much as I'm going to retract my left elbow towards my shoulder. Okay. So if I'm doing that without him, so save him for a second. Yeah. Almost with this thing. Right. I'm out here. I've sprawled this hip out. My elbow is going to pull back toward, I'm not looking to drive so much. I'm keeping consistent pressure with my head in and my forehead down. But the finish really comes from taking my elbow and retracting it towards my shoulder. Everything else staying the same. I'm driving forward with my head or driving down and in with my head. And the elbow is coming, retracting back. All right. One more time. I'm side control, crossface, underhook. I'm going to shift my weight, start to slice up. Then I'm going to take my my knee to the mat to replace my elbow while I also shift this underhook forward. Next thing I'm looking to do is windshield wipe my foot. And I can sometimes get a little more out of it. So go for this, like try to actually shift a little bit more of the weight as you are as you're getting into full mount and use some of that momentum to get more of this underhook, and then we'll drop right at the back. All right. If we need to get just a little more, we know how to do that. Spider walk, or if he's fighting us, whatever. I can spider walk, extend, spider walk, extend. Once I've got the elbow above the head, we want to cut with our crossface arm, the armpit, right here. Next thing I want to do is make sure I get my head to the outside of the elbow. Okay. Next key detail, shoulder position. So I don't want to start doing all this yet. I want to make sure I really dig down in the, get under that chin with my shoulder. All right. Now my head's driving in, my forehead's driving down. I'm now going to gable grip. Now I'm going to windshield wipe off. I'm going to kick this hip out. I'm going to sprawl it towards the mat, and then I'm going to retract my elbow. Any questions?
Show it again.
Which part? The whole float? Yeah, sure.
Say you were gable gripping.
What's that?
You say gable gripping.
If you want to see me go to sleep.
After my head's in the right position.
If you want to see me go to sleep.
You don't have to gable grip to finish this, but I don't think it can hurt if you've got everything else locked in.
And we should be able to finish it on one. You
You can. I never have against. I know it can be done because Big does it to me a lot. All right. Crossface, underhook. I want to make sure that I keep good pressure on it as I start to take out. So I'm here, cutting up. I want to take my knee to the mat and replace my elbow. Start to slide this underhook forward as much as I can. I'm going to take the full mount by windshield wiping my foot. I'm back. If I need to, I can spider walk. Once I get him in this position though, where his elbow is on above his head, I want to make sure, as quickly as possible, cut this armpit, drop my head down to the outside of the elbow. Because his defense to this would be if he can get his elbow back out on the outside. Yeah, exactly. So I want to prevent this by dropping my head to the inside and cupping this elbow. Now it's much more difficult while I'm driving my head this way and my forehead down. It's much more difficult, like try to get the elbow out now. It's much more difficult. Okay, once this is all locked in, next thing we want to do is make sure we get good shoulder position before we worry about really locking it in. So I'm gonna get under here. Sorry, bud. Get under the chin, make sure my shoulder's nice and low. Now I gable grip. Windshield wipe my foot, sprawl my hip back, retract the elbow. Any question on that? All right, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, sure. That's
Right here, there's a couple things I want to clean up. So some of you are kind of rushing to, even before you mount, like kind of already rushing to start to really squeeze here and everything. You're missing that key detail. First up, well, just a couple things, but one of the things that you're flying by is your shoulder position. So you want to make sure that key detail of this choke is, if I feel his chin on the front of my delt here, like I'm not going to be deep enough with my shoulder. I really want to make sure I get under the chin in good shoulder position. Next thing, some of you, when you start to actually dismount and sprawl back, you're correctly doing this, and you're correctly cutting an angle, and you're correctly putting your hip to the mat, but you're losing your base right here. You see how I'm holding myself up? I'm barely by my right elbow right now. Bridge really hard to your left, Chad. Like, he's just going to sweep me because I'm giving up my base. I'm committing. I'm not committing at an angle at all. So instead, get our good shoulder position. Everything's nice and tight. When I come back at it, and I want to come back at an angle with this hip, and drop. I can drop the hip, but I don't want to lose the ability to still drive my head forward. Like, he should be feeling my weight, bearing my weight more than me. And then to finish, we're just retract our left elbow. Okay. Again, some of you are kind of still trying to squeeze it. It's not. It's a retraction of the left elbow towards the shoulder. All right. If everything else is locked in the way it's supposed to be, it's a really simple finish, and it shouldn't require a lot of like this. Everybody get 3 more reps.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, please.
Can I show real quick?
Yeah.
If you're doing this right, you should be able to do it with your palm on the mat. Honestly. So one way of gauging good positioning is to actually try not using this just for a second until you start to feel them choke, and then make the connection and watch it work. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to finish the choke without even the grip. If you're doing it right.
Rolling into it.
What's that?
You're kind of rolling into it when you.
I always feel space. I don't want to take up time in class, but I'm always moving into them because this uneven movement driving is too hard for them to react to. They can't react to something that's always guessing. They're always guessing. You know what I'm saying? So I just stay in like this always until I find that soft spot. And I know I've got them, and then I just hone in. Once I find that little spot, I just drive. And I'm driving pressure this way. And yes, I'm still pulling. I'm still, even though my hands aren't connected, I'm still pulling motion with this hand. He's exactly right with that. So just food for thought. If you do it one-handed, you dang sure will make it nasty with two.
Any questions? All right. Well, let's get 3 reps apiece, and then we'll move on. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right.
We can run the defense now. All right, so we always like to talk about early stage and late stage, right? So go ahead. Early stage, yep, as he starts to lock it in, if I can get my elbow out and around before he's actually able to lock it in, that's going to be early stage prevention here. So if as he's dismounting in transition or as he's going to isolate, whatever, anytime before he gets fully locked in, he sprawled his hips back, he's got the right, like that sweet spot Nick's talking about. Anytime before that, if I can just get my elbow to the outside, or even if it's just a little bit of a bridge, bring my elbow back outside, like that's going to be early stage. Because he's got to keep my elbow trapped and on this side of his head in order to choke me here. Okay, late stage defense though. Let's rotate 180. Sorry. That was great. That was a liver shot. Good. That's payback for all the choking you had to endure plus few boots. All right. So now once it's locked in though, right? Like there's no, I'm definitely not gonna get it back. Whatever. I feel like I've got to do something. I'm gonna get subbed. At this point, really the only way we're gonna even possibly get out is giving him our back, right? So be aware of this. Or the only way I know, Nick might have another answer for you, but the only way I know of is giving him our back. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, once it's locked in, I can't get it. My free elbow, I'm going to go ahead and bring towards my pocket. And I'm also going to start using this as a kickstand to start driving my head back or my elbow back towards his head just to create some space. And then as I'm doing all this, I'm also looking to start scissoring my legs. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead and try to keep it. Okay. Yep, sorry. Okay. So I'm here, and then I'm making some separation, and then I'm going to start bridging, scissoring my legs, and then I'm going to start coming. I'm trying to go that way. I don't want to come out to the side, because if I can at least get my hips away from him in this transition, I've got more of a chance for at least a scramble than him just going straight to the back. So as I come up, I want to come up and using this elbow as kind of this pivot point, and I want to start to scissor my legs, and then I want to come back towards that elbow into the turtle position. But he's still going to have my back. We got to be aware of this. But that's ideally like rest. The only position I know to go to at that point once it's that locked. Go to the dog part. It's good. Forget your backs, right? Pretty much. One more time.
It'd be hard for him to take your back though.
Now, well, he can take my back a lot easier if I'm here and I start a separation and I just kind of roll to the side.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's why I want to prevent. So that's why I'm saying I don't want to go this way. I want to try to go that way.
Belly down.
Yeah, over the shoulders. Go ahead. One more. All right. So it's locked in. Elbows pinching down. Elbows pinching the head to create some space. I'm bridging up, scissor my legs, and then I want to continue rolling over that elbow to turtle position. And then as soon as I'm up, I'm just taking my hips back. And then we can fight from turtle. Any questions on that? All right, 1, 2, 3.